I don't know what you thought about Moonstruck. We didn't talk about that at all.
No,
I'm curious to hear those.
Moonstruck
This is an image number one.
Yeah, so Moonstruck is really weird because I'm not sure whether I liked it or not.
Yeah.
Because I think that ultimately it's not for me.
Yeah.
But it's hard to talk about books that are like competent and well written and well drawn, which this book definitely is.
The art style is super cute.
So good. And I mean, it's pretty much all of it is like, it's light and playful, but there are also moments of it that feel real, right? It kind of balances the real world, some real world issues with a much lighter tone, which I appreciate. And it's the type of book that I'm really glad exists, because I think that there's an audience for this that comics don't necessarily always aren't necessarily great at tapping into.
Right.
But I also was like, when I was reading it, I wouldn't say I was bored, but I was like, I don't know if, when I put it down, I was like, I don't know if I want to come back for the next issue.
Yeah. It's a paranormal romance.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And I'm a 28-year-old dude. It's not something I read.
That's fair. I mean, like, even as someone like that, like, I mean, it's a paranormal romance, and just because like I'm a 20-year-old dude, I don't think that means that I can't read it or enjoy it, right?
It feels like it was very much not written for me.
Right. And I think that that's actually a good thing. The fact that's actually something that I would say in its favor. Like, the fact that this book is not written for me, the 20-year-old white dude who's been reading comics for 5 years, or 5 or 6 years at this point, is good. Because there aren't enough books that are written for people that aren't me.
Yes.
And that's where I think a lot of the praise for a lot of the things I like about this book come from that, I think. Even though it's not a book that I'm going to run out and buy or even continue reading, it's a book that I think a lot of people will enjoy, and I'm really, really happy that it's good.
Yeah, I hope it finds its audience.
Right. And I mean, I kind of wonder if it will.
I don't know. Comics are weird.
Yeah. I mean, when you build a market around people like me, and that's basically the only target audience for decade after decade after decade, I imagine that finding the people who want to read this book is difficult. But, I think that this is a book that will have a lot of life as a trade, and I think the digital sales will be good to this book, even if the sales for like the physical copies of the singles aren't necessarily up to snuff. I think that there is an audience for this book, and I think that audience will eventually find a way to seek it out. And I'm glad.
I really appreciate how LGBTQ friendly it is.
Yeah.
I think media, we need more of that stuff. The problem is I get jaded when I read it, and I'm just like, okay, is this doing this because that's a good thing, or is it doing this because it thinks that's a good thing and can get a quick audience out of it?
I think some of your fears there will be assuaged by the fact that some, if not all, of the creative team is queer.
Okay.
So, if that helps.
I guess, I don't know why I get so... There's certain topics where I'm just like, are you trying to sell me something?
Well,
Generation Gone had the same effect on me when I was reading that about millennials. Right, and
we'll get to that, right? But I mean, we can kind of use this as a segue into it, I guess. But it's like when a straight dude writing about LGBTQ people can come off as hollow and at like some sort of cash grab. And that's not to say that it can't be done or shouldn't be done or can't be done well. Right. Like, there are good examples of straight dudes writing about queer people. But I think that queer people having a place to tell stories about their experiences is incredibly valuable. And again, that's why I think this book is important. Because it does feel genuine. Like, it doesn't even make a big deal out of it, right? Like, which I think is probably the way to do it. The fact that they're like just people, even though they're
and,
not exactly people. They're like centaurs and bats
which is
and
fun.
whatever, which is cute, right? Like,
but like the centaur with the a minotaur, like that back and forth they have is really adorable.
It is.
Like it's really well written. It's good stuff. And so there's definitely there's a lot of heart to this book.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and saying that maybe invalidates the jadedness that I had earlier. I don't know. It's a hard book to place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like intuitively, I know who this is for, but yes, I also feel similarly about it because it is so clearly not. I'm so clearly not the audience for it, which is in some ways a weird feeling when I pick up a comic.
Yeah.
Whereas with Generation Gone, I did feel like I was the intended audience, and I did not like that book at all.